Hello everyone, today we are back here with the Hunter Call of the Wild. I am in the process of setting up a Red Deer Great One grind here on T. Alaroy. It gave me the idea of doing a series comparing a Great One grind from the Xbox, which I do have one Red Deer Great One on there from the same map. So I figured I would do a comparison by doing a Red Deer Great One grind on PC to see if there's any difference in between the two. Maybe it might spawn faster or slower on the PC, um, even though everything is based off of RNG. So as you can see here, the map is pretty new. I've gotten a few zones unlocked already. I got a couple of tents placed and some good drinking zones. I was still working on finding all my drinking zones, as well as working on getting tents, which is why you do see some hunting pressure around. Normally, I would not shoot while setting up, but since I don't have the tents or the tripods that are needed, I decided to shoot around a little bit, but also being careful not to blow any of my zones out or get too much hunting pressure down. Let's go ahead and get the time reset here. I will say the biggest difference I've noticed between the PC and Xbox, it is a lot easier to aim and shoot as well as get follow-up shots with a keyboard and mouse compared to a controller. So that's definitely been a big difference. Let's get another tent in here. Yeah, normally I would not recommend shooting while setting up, just so that way you don't risk out blowing any zones or anything while you're setting everything up. But since this profile is a pretty new character, I don't have the tents or tripods to get everything set up. So that's why I'm having to change it up a little bit. The biggest difference between the Xbox and the PC, as far as setting up the grinds, when I did it on the Xbox, I was at level 60. I spent a lot of time playing the game, doing the missions, and just shooting around with friends, which I would recommend for every new player out there that's going to play the game. Don't try to jump into a Great One grind. Have fun with
You know
the
what a
game.
track is? Evidence you're not alone out there.
Play the missions.
Humbling, eh?
Get on multiplayer with your friends, shoot around. Don't put a lot of stress into getting diamonds or trophy animals or great ones. It's best just to kind of have fun with it and enjoy the game, which is what it's supposed to be for. The grinding is a lot of fun, especially when you actually do spawn in that great one. On the Xbox, it took me 1,400 kills to spawn in my Red Deer Great One. That was with using herd management. So here on the PC version, I am going to be using the same technique, using herd management. I have noticed that a lot of these zones are in the same locations. Some zones have more. I will say one of the things I've noticed between the Xbox and the PC, it seems like a lot of these zones, or a lot of the large zones on the PC, are around the 8 and 10 mark. Where on the Xbox, my largest zones were anywhere from 6 to 8. Didn't really see a whole lot of zones on Xbox with 10s. But I don't think that's going to cause any big issues. And normally on the Xbox, whenever I was playing single player by myself doing the missions, I would always play a little more stealthy. Didn't really use ATVs because it scares away everything. Kind of go around and be a little more selective of what I was shooting. But then I would also do multiplayer with some of my friends. We would get on there and do waterfowl hunts. And then we would ride around on ATVs and run and gun and shoot everything in sight. Which is a lot of fun to do, and there's a lot of different styles of play you can do with this game. So people shouldn't be worried about playing how they want to play as long as you're having fun and enjoying it. That's the only thing that matters. So let's go down here and see if we can pick up any tracks. So I do on the Xbox, I did have at least 2 or 3 drink zones down on this lake. And if everything holds up to be about the same, there should be at least 1 on this lake for PC. And that's the only reason why I'm starting the Great One grind at such a early level. Since I have played it on the Xbox for quite some time, I kind of know how to play through the game. I know a lot of the maps. I know where a lot of the drink zones, feed zones are at. So yeah, whenever trying to find the drink zones, it is good to come through on their drink zone times. And it's best to spot them because I have noticed that sometimes they don't always leave tracks for their drink zones. So if you can actually spot them on the drink zone, it'll mark it for you. Which I have noticed it is a lot easier to do it that way. So that way you're not having to worry about not finding their tracks. This looks like a pretty good herd. You see a couple of bigger ones in there. When using herd management, the main thing is to shoot all the bigs and leave the smalls. And then you can also stack the diamonds. Stacking the diamonds just kind of helps get everything lowered down because the PC the game wants to create a balance. So it's going to leave, if you leave the diamonds, it's going to spawn in smaller animals. to balance out that number. So we are going to take a couple of these. We're going to try to. Just so that way we can get some more cash for tents and tripods. And then for any of the new players, when shooting in a herd, typically only want to take 2 at the most, just to kind of help protect that herd. Anytime you shoot all the males out of a herd, it could cause that herd to go away or move zones. Could also cause that herd to break up, which will then be a bigger issue because then you'll have to go around and find the new herd and find the new zones. You only want to shoot the males. Shooting the females is not the end of the world, but can cause the herd to break up and that female to possibly leave the herd and take some of the males with it. So then you could have smaller herds, and then you have to go out and find that herd, find the drink zones. So it's best just to not shoot the females if you can help it. They're gonna get in the way. It's gonna happen. There's nothing you can really do about that. But I have noticed that sometimes it doesn't always happen, where the female will just respawn back and nothing breaks apart. The herd stays intact. But it's best is to always try to avoid it, just to be on the safe side. First shot. So it will be a lot easier once I get more of these skills unlocked, especially that recoil management with the 338. Which in my inventory now I am using the 243, the 338, and the 308 Zarza. I mainly shoot anything that is a trophy with my 308. I use the 338 for the smallers, just so that way I don't have to go and track them down as much. If I do accidentally make a bad shot. Especially with grinding, you don't want to have to look around for those animals. Once you have all your zones and get everything started, spending a lot of time tracking down something that you got a bad angle on or a bad shot just takes away time from the grind. And it can also be really annoying. Yeah, figured I completely missed that first shot. As you can see, I mean, the red deer do pay really good, which is why I decided to do my grind with red deer as well. Definitely helps to level up and earn money. So that way you're able to save up and get all the gear you need, as well as get your stats up. Currently, I am sitting at level 21. I am still working on getting all my skills for both Stalker and Ambusher. And also working on finishing up my perks. I do have my rifle finished up. Do have the reload while running, which is really useful. But now I have to work on getting my recoil management, which that's really useful, especially with the 338. Makes it a lot easier to get follow-up shots, shoot more than one. I'm gonna go ahead and grab this outpost because I can actually use this outpost to farm this lake. So that way I'm not having to set a tent up or anything. Eventually I will set up a tripod down here. Because anytime you shoot an animal without a tripod or a hunting structure, your hunting pressure does a lot more. So without a hunting structure, you can shoot two animals, and then the third one will blow the zone, which that just means that zone will go away until the hunting pressure is relieved, and then that zone will move. So a lot of times it will move close by, but I have seen where zones will jump to other lakes. That's just because animals are not attached to those zones. They're attached to the home range, which is where all these zones, feed zones, rest zones, drink zones are all located. So, I mean, it's not that big of a deal if you do blow out a zone. It just means you have to spend a little more time to go out and find it. But then again, it's not the end of the world. Yeah, I think I'll actually use this outpost to farm this lake and this lake up here. Well, that is what I did on the Xbox version. Oh, it's just kind of helpful because it does save with tents, because you can only put down 16 tents on each map. So sometimes if you can save that tent to use on another zone as a pickup tent, especially on some of these bigger lakes. Um, this lake down here has always been one of my favorite ones. I always seem to find a lot of big herds here. The only issue with it is on one side of the lake, there's a lot of trees. So if you get there when there's a lot of fog, it can be kind of hard to pick those out. Which is why I'm trying to get my zone spotting in. But also, these two lakes up here are really good. This is actually the lake on the Xbox where I got my Red Deer Great One at. Uh, this lake down here is pretty good. Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and keep on finding all my drink zones and get everything set up so that way we can get this Great One grind started. Would like to thank everyone for coming out and watching, and I hope you'll come back as we go along with this Great One grind. Please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button and leave a comment. It'll do a lot for me as I am just getting started streaming. And thank you for all the ones who have already done so. And thank you for all your support. I hope to see y'all again.